So how has this weekend been for you? Have you had a good time? Have you learned a lot? Have you made new friends? Excellent. Well, that's what this weekend is all about. And we're capping it off here at the student farm. What a wonderful location, isn't it? And we have two of their representatives with us today they're going to share a little bit about the farm. Brenna Fitzpatrick and Leslie Pillen are both here, and I'm going to invite them to come up after I tell you some pretty cool things about them. But Brenna is a rising sophomore majoring in plant science with a focus on agroecology and a minor in entomology. I can barely say it. I don't even know what it is. As a member of the intern cohort, she manages the farm's community-supported agriculture program, which I can tell you firsthand because we're subscribers, is fantastic. And if you're local, you should check it out and subscribe to the CSA provided by the student farm here. It's as well integrated in their pest management program. She's an active member in the student farm club and loves, this is an interesting hobby. She loves weeding thistle while on the farm. So that's what Brenna does for fun. All right. Leslie directs the Sustainable Food Systems Network here at Penn State, which provides hands-on learning opportunities for students and community through the student farm, through community partnerships, a food systems minor, and through the Student Farm Club and the Food Recovery Network. She received her Master's of Science in Rural Sociology from Penn State in December of 2013 and holds a bachelor's degree in science and horticulture from the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. Outside the farm, she adores her husband, her pup, her rabbits, and laying hens here in Happy Valley. So please welcome them, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about the student farm.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. I have learned that when I'm given a microphone and given a few minutes to brag about our students, that I tend to get a little emotional. So I have written out what I wanted to share, and I'm going to try to kind of stick to it so that I hopefully don't tear up, because it seems to be a trend for me. Okay. Yeah, so welcome everyone to the Dr. Keiko Miwa-Ross Student Farm. What a beautiful morning. The rain cleared. Look at this sunshine. Couldn't be in a better place this morning. So our Student Farm Club, which Paul mentioned, was established in 2015. And then the farm itself, where you are today, was established on a 1-acre parcel here in 2016. So we're pretty new. What you see now today is a 4-acre site for the farm, and we are a diversified vegetable operation. So we grow over 100 different vegetables, herbs, fruit, cut flowers, and dye crops here on the farm. Last year, we distributed nearly 20,000 pounds of produce across the campus community, and we sell the majority of our vegetables straight to the dining commons, so students get to eat fresh produce from the farm every day. We have several other outlets for our produce, such as the Lions Pantry, but even more important than the food we grow, I wanted to share a little bit with you this morning about how we grow students, because they're our most important crop. And this is where I get emotional, but I'm not going to, because I'm going to read from this, and it's going to be okay. So I would guess that you all are active in the Alumni Association because you yourselves had a really transformative, impactful experience as college students here at Penn State, and that you want to ensure that all future students get to have that same kind of experience. So you're our people. I think the Student Farm program really captures and emulates that ethos, and we're so delighted you've come to see the farm and meet several of our students, which, by the way, I'm going to pick on you all. Please will you wave if you're staff or student with us? There's a few of them around. Yay. Yeah, so several of our students were able to join us, and I hope you'll get some time to chat with them. I've been told by multiple senior leaders here on campus that the Student Farm is the best example of student engagement on our campus. which is pretty awesome. I think what they're saying is that our students are living their best college lives like you all did through many leadership roles across both the clubs, and we do have a second club in our ecosystem now too. Paul mentioned both Student Farm Club and Food Recovery Network. And within the farm itself, our students have built a really, really special community and a culture of supporting each other as they seek out their passions, build lifelong friendships, and make real change and meaningful impact here on campus and in the surrounding community. Our student leaders really deeply embody outreach and welcome and fun as students as they plan all sorts of events and programs, from our annual Harvest Fest each fall with 1,200 attendees. Shameless plug, it's Thursday, September 19th from 4 to 7 p.m. And if you're in town, please come. You're all invited. They host cooking classes, make guest presentations at local elementary schools, host potlucks with other clubs, and so many other events to welcome and build community across campus. A lot of these activities happen, all over campus, not just here on the farm. But I think the farm here is a really special anchor where students are literally leaving their mark on Penn State, and they have the pride of knowing that they're helping feed their community here on campus. As a program, we've grown a lot over the years, and we continually serve more students each year. And we're so thrilled that the university has seen our need to establish some better facilities out here to support all those students. So we have some boards out and some information about what we've been dreaming up with an architect team, and have a fundraising goal in hand to try to continue building out that facility support here. And in the spirit of all of that we do with the student farm, our students themselves are really intimately involved with this process of dreaming up what a facility can look like here, and helping figure out how do we raise the funds to make it happen, which is such cool experience. I know Leah's one of the students here this morning. She's our communications intern, helping work on developing materials and documents. So such a transformative experience that they'll get to take with them, beyond their time at Penn State. So it's really proving to be another dimension of our efforts to help students build lasting skills and lifelong friendships and memories, and deep pride ultimately in their contributions to Penn State. So I think you all here this morning probably have way more experience with that kind of thing. So I hope you'll take some time to talk with our students and share from your own experiences and your expertise with them. And ultimately, I hope you enjoy your time on the farm, enjoy this amazing spread, which of course does feature many vegetables from right here on the farm, and enjoy good company with your fellow Penn Staters. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I figured I'd share a little bit about what got me involved with the student farm and why I'm sticking with it. As Paul Clifford said, my name is Brenna Fitzpatrick. I am a current cohort intern, and I just completed my first year at Penn State. Thanks. When I decided to come to University Park, I was unaware of the Penn State culture that existed. I chose this school because they had my program. I'm not from Pennsylvania. I'm from Buffalo, New York. So to say my first semester was a complete culture shock is very accurate. Trying to find my footing on this huge campus, as well as find a group of people I wanted to surround myself with, was difficult, but luckily, my first year seminar class took a field trip to the student farm. On this field trip, we were able to go on a tour, as some of you also may go on later today. And for me, it was just so cool to see a vegetable farm in production. Although I'm a part of the College of Agricultural Sciences, at the time, I had very limited experience and exposure in agriculture. My favorite part of the tour was when we were able to sample ground cherries. I saw someone pick one today near the front gate. Shout out that person, because they are so good. It's one of my favorite things we grow on the farm. So there I stood alongside my first year seminar peers, collecting as many ground cherries as I could possibly fit into my hands, into my pockets, and then eventually I just took some, and me and my peers just started filling our shirts with them as if our shirts were like containers. And then I found out this place was hiring, and I was like, hi, I'm Brenna, I'd love to work here. I am so in. Since that visit, I have become an active member in the Student Farm Club on campus, as well as an intern. I find that the farm is unique in the experiences and opportunities it offers students. There have been many things that I've said yes to on a whim that have then become formative experiences for me. I was able to attend the Pennsylvania Association of Sustainable Agriculture Conference in February, create agricultural-based educational modules for students, and then actually teach students in the area these modules. And as an intern, as Paul Clifford said, I get to co-run our CSA program. Not many beginner level internships would allow for someone with very limited experience in agriculture to do these things, but the student farm does. Getting to work here every day over the summer, gaining experience, meeting new friends, has been so incredibly rewarding, and I love getting to take information I gained in the classroom setting and apply it in the field while doing everyday farm tasks. But back to the girl with the ground cherries, because I'm not done with her. After that visit last August, I found myself spending increasingly more time with the student farm, and by the second semester, if I wasn't in the greenhouse potting up plants to prepare for our annual plant sale, I was hanging out with friends that I made through farm events or club meetings. At some point during the second semester, I think I finally felt the Penn State feeling. The feeling of acceptance and community that I'm sure all of you felt at least once during your time here. I realized that's what makes this place so special. The clubs and organizations that make students feel heard, make this huge institution seem so small and intimate, create incredible opportunities. These organizations are what make Penn State so special, and they are the true gem of Penn State. I was gonna say, these would not be possible without support from alumni like you. But yeah, thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Let's have a big round of applause for Brenna and Leslie. So all I heard was you could fill your pockets with as much vegetables on your way out. So the student farm at Penn State provides an ideal location for us to welcome back our next guest. Chef Gabby Chappelle is a seasonally inspired chef and educator who's based in New York City, and her goal is to provide engaging and nourishing cooking tips that focus on utilizing produce that's available year-round. She graduated from Penn State in 2016 with degrees in Spanish and journalism, which really set her up to be a great chef. Or maybe it was her experience at the Institute of Culinary Education and their health supportive culinary arts program that really did the trick. She works in culinary education, recipe development, catering, and private chefing. You may also recognize Chef Chappelle because she is the recent winner of season 3 of Gordon Ramsay's Next Level Chef, yeah. There's another page. Now I'm shaking. I'm hearing Gordon Ramsay screaming in my ear. She's also been a guest on the hit Epicurious YouTube series 4 Levels and Pro versus Novice. I have a feeling that we're in for a real treat in hearing what Gabby has to say and then experiencing what Gabby has put together for us today. Please welcome back one of our own, Penn Stater, Chef Gabby Chappelle.
Yeah, journalism and Spanish. Nothing says next level chef like those two zones of education. But truly, I will get a little bit into how I ended up here after we eat. But for now, I just want to say thank you to first Leslie and the student farm for everything that they've done and all the hard work. I mean, I graduated in 2016. So, man, did I miss out on the opportunity to really take advantage of all that is here before us today. But really, and not to mention everyone who worked so hard to put this event together. I mean, honestly, I don't think I've seen a more beautiful brunch in my entire life. So if we could, give a round of applause to Caitlin and Odile and the whole team that has really worked hard to make that happen. And then most importantly, I do want to also recognize and thank Rebecca and the catering team here for putting this together. I mean, they're really the brains of the operation, and so really, it's so wonderful to be able to have so many teams working together to put something like this together. But right now, before we dive in, I just want to, just shout out the menu a little bit and maybe explain a little bit of what you guys will be eating today. Thankfully, I see you guys, some of you have dove in already, and thankfully, it's hard not to. So if you haven't, please do. Please start. And but really, this menu is fully inspired by the farm. I was like, "What do you got for me?" And then the menu was entirely built from what's available right now. And that's truly how I build all of my menus. What's in season and how do we make that happen? Because honestly, if we look at sustainability, utilizing what produce we have available to us not only is the best way to ensure that you're eating the most nutritious and delicious foods available, you're also, limiting our transportation of objects and the other ways that we get food on the table, which are all important. There's no two ways. There are a million ways to put something together like this. But ultimately, I think, especially being at Penn State, the home of agriculture, it's really great to be able to represent sort of why we're even here. And so, without further ado, this menu really is meant to just be a reflection of what's in season, inspired with some global cuisine, some Mediterranean flavors. So I hope you enjoy, and I will chat with you after you've filled your bellies. Thank you.
So did you enjoy brunch? Excellent. I'm going to invite Chef Gabby Chappelle up to explain a little bit more about the inspiration behind what we've all just enjoyed, and maybe to talk a little bit about the dessert bar that we have set up here. So Gabby?
Yes, you are not mistaken. You heard the words dessert bar. But yeah, well, okay. Did anyone notice a common theme of the brunch, or is there anything that maybe wasn't a part of the brunch? Yes, you're right. Okay, so and hey, I will say I always kind of say I'm agnostic. I do eat meat, but man, I love vegetables, especially when this is where they're coming from. I mean, come on, really, it's just, we talk about the blue zones and the how to make your life longer and how to live a healthy life, and honestly, the key is vegetables, guys. And a healthy lifestyle, but I love vegetables. So I'm glad you guys all enjoyed, and hopefully didn't miss out on the bacon too much. But you can have that tomorrow. But yeah, this menu really is sort of a reflection of how I got here. How did I get from a Penn State journalism and Spanish major student to next level chef? There's a big gap in between there. But really, to boil it all down, when I think about where I grew up, which was about an hour east from here in a town called Jersey Shore, Pennsylvania, I'm sure you've seen it on 80 and been very confused thinking that you were close to the Jersey Shore, but no, very far. But you were close to the Susquehanna River. But for me to grow up in such an agriculturally rich town and area and grow up coming and visiting Penn State, it's always been a big part of my life. And it's something that, I never really thought of growing up because, I was always, you're bored in a little farm town, you're a little bit bored, and you're looking for like the next thing, the next big thing. But as I've gotten older and as I've gone through my career and as I've entered into this role of feeding people and nourishing people, having that root and that system of being connected to the land through the food, through people who are raising the food and creating the food that we consume, it really kind of wound its way back into my life. And I now live in New York City, the thriving metropolis, and it kind of, as we can assume, is on the opposite end of the spectrum of where I grew up. And what that provided me was sort of this immersion into new cultures, new cuisines, global influences, and imagination, creativity in a way that I've never really experienced before. And my time here at Penn State, being a journalism student, I always wanted to be a storyteller. I always wanted to tell stories, and I have this innate curiosity that is never satiated. And so growing up in this place, I really felt that I needed to branch out. And my Spanish major through the College of Liberal Arts really allowed me that opportunity to see the world. I studied abroad in Valencia, Spain, and even that Mediterranean diet sort of wound its way into the menu today. And just being able to experience a world very different than the one that I grew up. And I think as Penn Staters, we are all very, focused on our roots and where we come from. But I think, how many people here don't even live in the country anymore, or don't even live in the state of Pennsylvania anymore? We've all really expanded and have gone to different places. And I feel like, as Penn Staters, we're all over the globe. And so for me to be able to bring that back through an expression, through creativity and into food has been something that it's kind of oddly how journalism and Spanish tie into cooking. So being able to find myself in the mix of nature and its cycles, life, death, rebirth, all of these themes and the grounding of nature is intrinsically intertwined with our cuisine and what we eat. And as well as inspiration and big ideas and big global influences, they also can be a big part of, how we creatively express ourselves. So that's really sort of how I've developed my style over the past few years as someone who is now taken on this experience of becoming a chef. And so hopefully you see a little bit of that on the plate today. And before we go to dessert, I did want to open up to Q&A because I don't know if anyone has any questions. I spoke a little bit about my philosophy, but if there was any questions that anyone had about, my experience and how else I ended up here, I would be more than happy to answer any questions. Yes. Yeah.
What, in the eggplant dish, what type of oil did you use?
Oh, that's a good question. That is a Rebecca question, I believe.
I'm sorry.
Oh, don't be sorry.
It was delicious.
What type of oil?
Olive oil, there was champagne vinegar.
Yes, olive oil.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gabby's recipe. But it was, it was the tomatoes from the farm, the eggplant that's fried. We put fennel in it, onions, garlic. Then there's olives, capers, and some champagne vinegar. And peaches, fresh peaches.
Yes, peaches.
Flustered for most of your time. For most of your time that we viewed on the show.
Oh, that's such a good question.
You were cool and composed.
Oh, I love that people thought that. I really do. Thank you. I have to say, that show, the way I kind of describe it is the both ends of the spectrum, right? On one end, you have the stress. You have the day in and day out, the grueling filming hours. I mean, it's 6 days a week. In Ireland, by the way. I don't know if that's clear, but it was filmed in Ireland. But, you have the long and draining days. But then on the other end of the spectrum, you have the ability to focus on one thing, and it's the thing I love more than anything. And I get to be creative, and it's fun. When else are you able to go into a competition and just express yourself through food? It was so, so fun. And so any day I went in there, I reminded myself that I could view this as work and as stress and as something that's, really challenging. Or I could go in and be like, I'm about to have the time of my life. I'm going to have fun. and I'm going to focus, and I'm going to try and do my absolute best. So I'm really glad that it came across that way, that I was calm and collected. But really, you kind of get into a flow state. And as you're doing something you love, time flies, right? And you don't even know where you are. You don't even know what you're doing. And when you're doing that and you're experiencing that, I think that's when you know you're doing the thing you were born to do. Thank you. Oh, I see another one. Okay.
Hi, Chef Gabby.
Hello.
So, kind of building on that question, what was the most sort of intriguing thing or takeaway that you had from that stressful yet exciting and phenomenal experience?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think, as through school, through college, we experience challenge, competition, especially if you did sports. You've experienced adrenaline rushes, but as we graduate and as we move on, as we move into careers, we don't really have the opportunity to experience that anymore. And so I think going into this competition and having basically a month straight of just being able to focus and do my thing, I can't remember the last time I experienced that, the challenge, the drive, the competitive side of myself that I forgot I even had. And to recognize that, I can do something really challenging. I can come up here and compete against seasoned chefs who have worked in this industry for a decade and have a unique point of view and have a unique perspective in how I approach things. And leaving that competition, I think, had just been the biggest confidence booster for me and my abilities and knowing, we can do hard things. I think so many of us experience imposter syndrome throughout our lives and in so many different ways. And there's so many times where I know that's been a theme throughout the weekend and something that many people experience. And so being able to do something like that and come out of the other side of it, it's like, why wouldn't I believe in myself a little bit more and take a little bit more time to really just, pat yourself on the back from time to time and be like, all right, you did something cool. Thank you. What's next? That is the question of the hour. And I think that that is, when we look at our career trajectories, a year ago, I was personal chefing for a client who really couldn't, care less about my well-being. It's a tough industry. And I was building my business. I was doing pop-ups, and actually the eggplant dish was a part of a pop-up I made exactly a year ago. And I remember being there a year ago and thinking, I'm really just starting something. I'm onto something. And if I keep growing at this rate, something really good's going to happen. Little did I know that a year later, I would be mentored by Gordon Ramsay himself, flying to London, experiencing Michelin star restaurants. And now I'm in this place of where do I go from here? And so it is such a good question, because I think as we evolve in our career, as we hit these big milestones, we have to consider, maybe there is, I kind of mentioned this earlier, this cycle of death and rebirth. And I think that, sometimes we associate so deeply with who we have been or what we have done in the past that sometimes it's hard to enter into a new state of mind. And so for me right now, I'm trying to think, okay, what are my new goals? Because what was a goal a year ago, it has been shattered. And I need to kind of really reevaluate what that looks like. And so for me, being able to educate, being able to continue to learn, I think that the best way to teach is through learning and being able to impart that wisdom. And so I want to continue to expose myself to opportunities around the globe and learn more about agriculture, learn more about the culinary industry, learn more about sustainability, and be able to impart that as well to other people. And I will say, I think that there may be a cookbook at some point. But you're going to have to wait a little while for that. All right. Well, I think that that's a great note to end on, and I don't want to keep us from dessert for too long. Enjoy this nice little homage to Penn State, a blue and white sundae. It has my favorite components of the season. We have blackberries and corn sauce. I know it sounds a little weird for ice cream, but trust me, I think you're going to like it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chef Gabby. Can we put our hands together one more time for Chef Gabby? I'm Angela White. I am the Hawaii chapter president. Great to see you all. I am honored to be here for a second year in a row, and all roads lead to Penn State. Gabby will be on Maui next month, cooking for a fundraiser for the Maui wildfires that happened almost a year ago today. Okay, we're not gonna cry. It's an honor to be here on many levels. Most especially, I came to this conference last year. I met so many of you, and then the wildfires happened, and through Instagram stories, your chapters were donating to our chapter and getting us to Costco and getting equipment and supplies over to Maui. So that is the flex of the Penn State community, is being able to connect, and then you guys just supporting our chapter in Hawaii. That being said, we are out here in Hawaii. Please come join us. This weekend has been excellent. This conference is leaps and bounds above where it was last year. I am a career event and wedding planner. I mean, this is nicer than most weddings, just this brunch. This is amazing. Chef Gabby, this food was excellent. This was the perfect way to end the weekend. I would like to thank Paul, all of the other speakers, the Alumni Association team. You guys absolutely knocked this out of the park. There are going to be farm tours starting right here next to the tent. They will end over by the trolley. The bus is now a trolley. So feel free to do that up until 11:30. And I just want to say one more time, it is an absolute honor to be here. I am a first-generation college student. I fell in love with Penn State when I was 10, and I laid eyes on Penn State cheerleader Barbie. The skies opened up, and I'm chronically late for everything, but the day the Penn State admissions gal came to my high school, I was sitting there waiting for her. So it's an absolute honor and pleasure to be here. And one last time, we are. Penn State. We are. Penn State. We are. Penn State. Thank you.